Coming up, local schools are still experiencing shortages, this time in the cafeteria. Learn more about how the schools are trying to recruit more food service workers. Lexington City Council may make it easier for members affiliated with local universities to cast votes affecting the two schools. We'll explain why residents say the council needs to stay independent. And the avian flu is hitting local farms, how that could affect your grocery store bill. As a freezing Arctic front approaches the Northeast, weather anchor Juliana Stevenson has your 5-day forecast. We'll also have more on the winter storms hitting Texas. And it's Groundhog Day. Punk's attorney, Phil, saw his shadow this morning. We'll tell you how to stay upbeat with 6 more weeks of winter in store. All that and more coming up on the Rockbridge Report.
Live from the campus of Washington and Lee University with news from Rockbridge County, this is the Rockbridge Report.
Welcome to the Rockbridge Report. I'm Carly Snyder.
And I'm Archita Agarwal.
The Republican-led House voted on Thursday to oust Democratic Representative Ilhan Omar from the Chamber's Foreign Affairs Committee. The 218 to 211 vote was along party lines. Democrats accused the GOP of targeting Omar based on her race.
I am Muslim. I am an immigrant, and interestingly, from Africa. Is anyone surprised that I am being targeted?
Republicans countered that Omar made anti-Semitic comments in the past. Lexington City Council is considering changing the conflicts of interest regulations in the city's code of ethics. For some citizens, this has sounded alarms. Andrew Arnold reports.
Lexington City Council member Leslie Strawn wants to delete a line from the city's ethics code. The language has become a flashpoint with council members, especially when the city is considering business with Washington and Lee University and the Virginia Military Institute. Some members of the public are criticizing council members with financial or personal ties to W&L and VMI and the possible appearance of a conflict of interest.
And so it can be interpreted very broadly, and in the past that has happened, to where it can even be used to bully people, to encourage them not to participate.
If the code were changed, council members would still need to abide by Virginia's laws about conflicts of interest. There is a $5,000 benefit threshold that officials may not exceed to vote or discuss an issue. Citizens have voiced their concerns about conflicts of interest because of the numerous city council connections to W&L. Council members Strawn, Sigler, Alligood, Smith, and Betts are all spouses of W&L employees or graduated from the school. Sigler also works at VMI. Residents like Molly McClure worry both universities are encroaching on downtown Lexington.
They are supposed to be stewards of the public trust. And trust, the public trust, is in fact the foundation, the essence of ethical behavior.
In most cases, these members would still have to recuse themselves from voting on business with colleges under the state code. Mayor Frank Friedman consulted a state resource for local officials and learned that it is uncommon for cities the size of Lexington to have the extra language about conflicts of interest.
The perceived conflict of interest that we have language in ours is a far more ambiguous and hard to interpret, and far exceeds the standard set by the state code.
City officials believe the proposed change will help streamline the voting process for City Council as well as other boards and commissions. City Council is holding a work session about the Ethics Code tonight at 6 at the Rockbridge County Administrative Offices. For the Rockbridge Report, I'm Andrew Arnold.
McClure submitted a letter to the News Gazette protesting the proposed Code of Ethics change. At tonight's meeting, more residents may share their thoughts.
Virginia Governor Glenn Youngkin asked House and Senate budget leaders on Wednesday to address an error that led local school divisions to expect more state aid than they will receive. The Department of Education earlier this week disclosed the error. The mistake led to a funding deficit of $201 million statewide over 2 fiscal years. School administration officials and advocacy groups have expressed concern about the shortfall. Schools across the country have experienced a shortage of food service workers that started during the COVID-19 pandemic. Like other places, Rockbridge County is trying to find ways to recruit and retain cafeteria workers, Christian Bassnett reports.
In Rockbridge County, school cafeteria workers are serving more students, but they are confronting low pay. Rockbridge County Public Schools pays cafeteria workers $13 an hour. That's among the lowest in the region. Rockbridge County schools face competition from neighboring school districts, local businesses, and changing work sentiments spurred by the pandemic.
People just got used to doing something different, or they made the decision at that time that, I don't really like that job, so I'm not going to do it anymore.
Cafeteria manager Brenda Kerr says a pay increase and more frequent pay periods would help recruit more staff at Rockbridge County High.
But I do believe this type of job needs to be more. It's very fast-paced, and the staff gets paid once a month. If we could get a different type of pay, like twice a month for the staff, that would help.
Rockbridge County participates in the National School Lunch Program and is reimbursed by the federal government for the food served to students. The more meals the division serves, the more money it has to pay cafeteria workers. Demand for food is being driven up by a state program that allows students to receive free breakfast and lunch. In the fall, all schools in Rockbridge County began participating in the Community Eligibility Provision, which kicks in when a school system has 40% of students who qualify for free meals.
All of our schools are seeing a higher participation, which means higher reimbursement.
Kerr says the high school used to have 10 cafeteria workers. Now they're down to 8.
We really need to have another serving line open, and some days we don't have enough staff to do that.
Rockbridge County Public Schools doesn't have a salary scale for food service workers and other classified staff. Cafeteria employees receive the same base pay regardless of how many years they've served. Stickley says a refined pay system can help convince more applicants to work for the county. For the Rockbridge Report, I'm Christian Bassnight.
Stickley, the nutrition supervisor at Rockbridge County Public Schools, said she'll retire at the end of the school year.
The Virginia Horse Center is standing on solid financial footing for the first time in years. Historically, the Horse Center has struggled with long-term debt. Emma Mansfield is live at the Horse Center with more on how the recreational site made a comeback. Emma?
I'm here live at the Virginia Horse Center, which has received more than just money from Lexington and Rockbridge County. The Horse Center has also been granted time to pay off some of its biggest debts through a performance extension agreement. The agreement gives the Horse Center money from an extra 1% lodging tax on the city and county. Last week, the county approved extending the agreement until 2029, but the city has yet to do the same. The council plans to discuss the extension during its upcoming meeting on February 16th. For the Rockbridge Report, I'm Emma Mansfield.
Nikki Haley is moving closer to making her presidential campaign official. Haley invited supporters on Wednesday to a February 15th launch event in Charleston. She'll announce her run then. Haley served as South Carolina's governor for 6 years before serving as President Donald Trump's ambassador to the United Nations. Haley will be the first contender to join the contest against her former boss. Trump is currently the sole Republican seeking his party's 2024 nomination. Local farms in Rockbridge County have seen multiple cases of avian influenza, which has swept the nation in recent months. Egg prices have shot up significantly due to the epidemic. Local farms are doing everything they can to protect their birds and crops. You can read the full story by Ryan Raich on our website, rockbridgereport.wlu.edu.
Coming up on the Rockbridge Report, we'll tell you how Buena Vista's government has reached a compromise to solve the feral cat problem in a key city landmark.
And the Rockbridge County Sheriff's Office has a new hire, Gunner the bomb-sniffing dog. All this and more next on the Rockbridge Report.
Welcome back to the Rockbridge Report. There were almost 200 feral cats in Buena Vista's Glen Maury Park in 2014. Now there are only 12. But not everyone agrees on how to deal with them. Jack Hunter has the story.
Buena Vista resident Mary Huffman and her husband have fed the feral cats at Glen Maury Park every day since 2014. But she received a letter in early December from the city's Parks and Recreation Committee ordering her to remove food and shelters she had placed at the park.
When I questioned about what was going on, they said that they wanted the cats to be like any other animal in the park, the deer and the groundhogs. But what they were so mistaken about is Cats are a domesticated animal, and these cats have been fed all their lives, every day.
Many residents criticized the letter either online or at the council meeting in early January. After the meeting, city officials and Huffman met at the park and came up with a plan. On January 19th, City Council unanimously agreed to kick in $2,000 for the construction of a new building for the 12 remaining cats. Huffman will need to raise the other $2,000. The structure will be 8 feet wide by 8 feet long and will be located off a walking trail above the park's pavilion.
I believe that council did listen to everybody. You know, part of council's duties is discussion, is listening to the public, listening to businesses, listening to the citizens, and they do.
City Manager Jason Tyree wrote the December letter on behalf of the committee's 3 council members, Cheryl Hickman, Danny Staten, and Melvin Henson. Huffman says she thinks the members on the committee changed their minds as they learned more about the situation.
The city attorney and Tyree plan to present a resolution at tonight's council meeting that they say will address what Huffman can and can't do in the park from now on. Huffman said she offered insight into the plan.
A bomb and firearm detecting dog named Gunner joined Rockbridge County Sheriff's Office in December. He is already showing just how vital he is to the team. Ned Newton reports.
2-year-old Gunner is the newest member of the Rockbridge County Sheriff's Office. The German short-haired pointer can detect over 40 different explosive compounds.
He can find explosives and also firearms, shell casings, anything that has any kind of residue in it.
Deputy Sean Capps originally bought Gunner as a gift for his fiancée, but Capps realized Gunner would make a better police dog than house dog. The two began training in Augusta County to get certified as an explosives detection team. The night before Gunner received certification, there was a bomb threat at Washington and Lee University. A user posted anonymously on the app Yik Yak that a bomb had been planted on campus. Capps and Gunner would have been there to help police if the incident had occurred a day later.
That gave me a lot of motivation to get certified and get out there to start helping.
The bomb threat at WNL turned out to be a false alarm, but Gunner has had other opportunities to apply his skills. He worked 2 parades in Lexington over the Martin Luther King Jr. holiday weekend. He also has checked out a suspicious package and found a firearm off Route 11 that police were looking for. Capps and Gunner are also participating in an investigation into a home invasion that took place last Thursday in Buena Vista.
There was a witness who stated that there might have been a firearm involved on one of the individuals. Upon apprehending one of the individuals, there wasn't a firearm located, and we believe it allegedly might have got thrown out somewhere.
Police do not know if the suspect had a gun or where it might be hidden.
And that's why we're going to utilize Gunner to kind of pinpoint where it may or may not be at.
Gunner and Capps still train together twice weekly. Gunner knows he'll get a piece of sliced turkey if he does the job well. For the Rockbridge Report, I'm Ned Newton.
Gunner will pick up more cases for the Rockbridge County Sheriff's Office as he continues his training. He was certified in December. Coming up on the Rockbridge Report, winter storms are hitting Texas, how residents are dealing with power outages and dangerous roads.
A cold front with winds is coming into Rockbridge County this coming weekend. Hear more about it on the weekly weather report. I'm Juliana Stevenson with the Rockbridge Report.
And later, Tom Brady announced he's retiring for real this time. We'll have more on what the NFL legend told fans in a social media post.
Welcome back to the Rockbridge Report. I don't know about you guys, but I've noticed it's definitely been getting colder.
Especially the nights. Juliana, can you tell us a little more about it?
Even in Punxsutawney, Phil sees his shadow this Groundhog Day. Much of the U.S. will still be dealing with rough weather. Severe winter weather is affecting millions of Americans from the south to the northeast. John Lawrence reports.
Rain and sleet has pounded parts of the Midwest and southern United States, including Austin, Texas.
Trees are falling with all the ice.
More than 370,000 Texas customers were without power as of late Wednesday due to the weather, and road conditions were treacherous at times.
Oh, I'm stuck at traffic light. There was red and stop it, and after that I can't move.
In Des Moines, Iowa, some injuries were reported after a college bus carrying passengers flipped onto its side on Highway 163.
Looks like there was left the roadway briefly and then overcorrected, probably due to the slick shoulder, and then that's kind of what caused it.
This winter storm has also brought more than an inch of sleet to sections of Arkansas, Kentucky, Illinois, Missouri, and Oklahoma. And now the Northeast is preparing for a separate bone-chilling blast. The National Weather Service says parts of Maine and New Hampshire are forecast to have wind chills at least 50 degrees below zero.
The important fact is going to be remaining indoors this weekend, if at all possible. This is a great reason to stay home and maybe watch Netflix.
Much of the Northeast is under a wind chill watch or warning until Saturday afternoon. I'm John Lawrence reporting.
More than 2,000 flights in and out of and around the U.S. were canceled Wednesday, mostly due to the weather, according to the FlightAware tracking site. That's all for national weather. Now let's take a look at the local weather. Here we have a live shot from the Virginia Horse Center where we can see it was a partly cloudy day in Lexington, with a high of 44 and a low of 28. We had a barometric pressure of 30.02 inches with a wind speed of 6 miles per hour and a humidity of 65. Looking at the radar, we can see there was no precipitation coming through, but it was a bit of an overcast day with some sun. Now let's take a look at the temperatures for surrounding cities. Here in Lexington and Buena Vista, there was a temperature of 44 degrees and it was partly cloudy. In Stanton, it was a bit colder at 42 degrees, as well as in Lynchburg down south at 42 degrees as well. Over in Charlottesville, it was even colder at 38 degrees. In Covington, it was also pretty cold at 34 degrees, but down in Roanoke, it was a little bit warmer at 46 degrees. Now let's take a look at our 5-day forecast. This weekend we'll be coming into a bit of a cold front starting tomorrow with a high of 32 and a low of 12. On Saturday the sun comes out, but it still will be quite chilly with a high of 36 and a low of 23. On Sunday it starts to warm up a bit with a high of 52 and a low of 31. On Monday the sun comes out again, but it's a bit warmer with a high of 55 and a low of 30. On Tuesday we have a high of 59 and a low of 37. Back to you guys.
Up next on the Rockbridge Report. VMI Swimming suffered a string of losses last week. Learn more about the cadets' rough patch.
Are you experiencing Groundhog Day syndrome? We'll have tips on how to break up your routines. Welcome back to the Rockbridge Report. So Mackenzie, I heard the NFL legend is finally retiring.
Yeah, I saw Tom Brady's post on our Instagram this morning. Can you go ahead and tell me about that?
Absolutely. NFL legend Tom Brady has announced his retirement on social media Wednesday.
Good morning, guys. I'll get to the point right away. I'm retiring for good. I know the process was a pretty big deal last time, so when I woke up this morning, I figured I'd just press record and let you guys know first. So.
New England Patriots owner Robert Kraft said today that he wants Brady to sign a one-day contract to retire from the team. Washington and Lee University basketball continues a successful streak this season. Men's basketball defeated Randolph College 92-81 yesterday. Women's basketball lost against Bridgewater College 52-45 yesterday. The loss comes after the women's team's win against Ferrum College 79-52 on Saturday. Meanwhile, Virginia Military Institute's swimming had a string of losses this last week. The cadets women's swimming team lost to Davidson College 183-51 on Saturday, and the men's team lost to Davidson 153-84 on Saturday. The cadets also lost to Washington and Lee's men's swimming team 177-85 on Friday. Southern Virginia University's basketball teams have also seen success recently. The Knights men's basketball team defeated Greensboro College 76-60 on Saturday, and the women's team beat Mary Baldwin 74-44 on Tuesday. The Knights women's basketball team also beat Brevard College 81-79 on Saturday. Rockbridge County High School's basketball team suffered some recent blows. The Wildcats varsity boys basketball team lost to Spotswood High School 73-39 on Tuesday, and the varsity girls lost to Spotswood 60-20 on Tuesday as well. Perry McClure's boys basketball team has seen more success. The Fighting Blues won against Highland High 74-61 last Wednesday. And that's all for sports. Back to you, Carly.
We're looking at 6 more weeks of winter. That's the groundhog's prediction after seeing his shadow this morning. Some people say they're experiencing Groundhog Day syndrome. That's the term used to describe the feeling that you're reliving the same day over and over again. In today's Health Minute, here are our tips to help you break out of your rut.
If you only had one day to live, what would you do with it?
Made popular by Hollywood, the idea of Groundhog Day syndrome is simple. It feels like each day is the same. You're reliving it over and over again.
Although it's not a psychological diagnosis, it is a feeling that is familiar to many.
Cleveland Clinic psychologist Susan Albert says when we do the same things over again, we can get bored. You may even feel trapped.
We get used to our environment and we start tuning it out. On the upside, this helps our brain to relax. We don't have to focus on everything. The downside is that we no longer experience things in the same way. It becomes less vivid and exciting.
Albert says breaking the boring cycle starts with being mindful. Each day, be present, both mentally and physically.
Feel, taste, touch. Look at that experience as if you are doing it for the very first time.
It's about waking up your mind. So Albert says try new things, meet new people, go to a different restaurant, taste a new food, learn a new skill, try a different hobby, or take a trip somewhere you haven't been.
When we do new activities for the very first time, it triggers new neural pathways in our brain. It forms new connections. That's what leaves these lasting and vivid memories.
Breaking out of the norm can help you break out of your rut.
For Health Minute, I'm Amy Gaither.
Albert says our brains love routine, so keep those routines, but add a new twist. Change up your exercise playlist or listen to a new podcast. She says whatever you're into, just changing it up a little will go a long way.
That's all for the Rockbridge Report. Tune back in for our Tuesday live update next week at 3:30 p.m.
And check our website, rockbridgereport.wlu.edu, for more local and national news. Thanks for watching.